Hello to all fans of Naruto Lemon. I will post all Naruto Lemon Yaoi, Yuri, or Naruko Lemon stories only on the Boosty channel because Uncle YouTube condemns this. Therefore, I invite everyone who wants Naruto Lemon content to my Boosty channel. Good luck.
お前はどこまで見えている。俺の死に様か。
Mada-san, why are you so sad? Cheerfully, child's voice made the thoughtful guy distracted from his papers. Answers the question he didn't want to, but he knew for sure the girl won't leave him alone until she gets what she wants. Near the makeup, I'm not sad, I'm thoughtful. With this phrase, the baby was maybe not completely happy but still happy. Making a funny face, she ran away screaming to her best friend Sasuke. He had already waited for her and they quarreled as usual. Let's play. I'm only 5 years old and already so noisy. It's scary to imagine what will happen when they grow up. Most likely they will become husband and wife. They are perfect for each other. I wonder why he should have children now. That's exactly what Makoto said, but he stayed. What can you do? However, for some reason, no one thinks about the fact that he needs to prepare for exams and the noise will not contribute to this in any way. Got divorced. Segment. The pen broke. Mada Sano, no, get up. Mada-san, sleep through your whole life. Did not stop screaming. This is a misunderstanding, and it seems to me that only the sleepy one asked for lunch. Uchiha rolled over on his side. He worked all night and only recently was able to come home and go to bed, and this little thing does not let him sleep. Eat and then he will have time, and if not, it is not a problem without food. He lived somehow. Unlike sleep, you see. She climbed on him indignant. Puff, the most beautiful in the world, which she cooked, and then Madara understood how to get rid of the annoying child on hand. Let's talk. So opening one eye, black-eyed in order to see interested and curious blonde's face. She let me sleep and I give supports Romana. Well, he was absolutely sure. Now works all always worked, but not this time. The girl on Wish took an important look. As much as possible for a child 7 years old, folded her arms on her chest and looked at him as if he were a person who outside some very important agreement, but or as a complete idiot. Madara's what is good because his wife hand then several page. You guardian of order, I answered. The man asked with fun, looking at the child. She was even more interesting than her nephew. As many as 5 portions. Illiterately, without embarrassment, answered. It seems to me. Uzumaki mentally whistled, clearly realizing that it would not be possible to buy out right away. Madara was forced to stand and pick up in his arms, joyful in hand. Otherwise he simply does not know yet that he will have to feed her from his hands. Agreement with Mikosen and Kaken. Since no one could cope with the role of an alarm clock for this only workaholic except her, all the others he did not send. Basically just did not open the locked door as I managed to reveal the secret to this fox universe. But the fact remains the fact. You won't send a child and you believe it didn't become an obstacle for her even when the lock was changed 3 times. It worked. 2 hurricanes flew into the house, only the second one was afraid. High from his uncle, he knew perfectly well how terrible he was in anger, although she saw it, but instead of being afraid and running away, she hit him with her little foot, saying that he was afraid, not afraid, and his screams were in vain. That's exactly what she said. It was immediately obvious than upbringing. What bright wishes of the people. Lazily sipping coffee, the man answers. He's already used to it. She crept up to him from behind and looked straight at the reports of subordinates. And coffee, by the way, is harmful. She cheerfully notices and kisses him on the cheek. Everything is as always, nothing changes. Sasuke thinks. And why does she always appear? Mana-san, and you know that sleeping on the table and out the window is not the best idea. A girl's voice whispered softly right above the Uchiha's ear. At first he didn't even realize who it was. First the thought was where it came from. In his house, some impudent person whom he did not invite. Not only he was going to let everything that he thinks about this stranger. As opening his eyes, he saw in front of him a cute, slightly angular figure with long planet tails and big blue eyes in which such discontent splashed that you forgot at my house. In his arms, propping his head with his hand, he hooked him as he has been sick for a week, and with a swing. How is it that I will treat you, Mada-san, and the girl is fed up for an hour. The back of the head. The girl on this thought. Madara got hung up A dog girl is a small Uzumaki hurricane, a child in the fifth point. Of which they forgot did not so know she has a whole propeller forgotten there she is not a girl. She is his personal kind of hemorrhoids in the face of a small and funny girl, yes. The only one who can hide any locks and penetrate into her room or apartment, and who sent you in his arms, asked. The man he knew for sure just like that she would have been too lazy to come here, and that means they saved her up with ramen. Yes, some girl, a child, the most ordinary. The girl is offended and pouted. Because her beloved got sick and as always neglected her illnesses. Because she knows how bad it is to be sick alone, it becomes sad and bad and even scary. That is why whenever Uzumaki herself was sick, one of her parents or friends was nearby, she did not like loneliness at all. No one sent me, Mada-san, I came myself. I felt the truth, but judging by the dangerous look of the owner of the apartment, he did not believe it at all. Madara herself spoke conciliatorily, simply. Because this girl will stand to the last, and he is not like that, not a raven. Feels to argue with her on hand this answer. Although he did not know that nothing, he did not believe her. Even the hotel ran to the kitchen to get all the food and medicine that she bought in order to treat this harsh Uchiha, yes, and he also had to tell him that she was having dinner with him under the guest's Hashirama, with whom the girl herself surprisingly even Sasuke to go to the swollen Ozasan, otherwise he really will work all his life. Ordered. Makoto was already setting the table. Moan for dinner today. Madara came to visit them. Although all the same, the whole day about work, subordinates cannot do without him, and a step send there on hand, and not a suicide, answer the guide peacefully. 3 at home on the couch on hand now. No fun, woman, so this is hard, this is a dacha to wake up. Madara almost always fell to her, and naturally only stubborn that until they achieve their goal they will not give themselves and will not retreat. That is why on hand always coped excellently with the task set, so disgrace her all, even sleepily, said Nipples. Being on the verge between sleep and reality, that straight from Greece the whole family hence recently went on vacation to the sea. On whom is she, left me herself, asked Uchiha. Staggering, Isavalia went to the second floor to his uncle's room to call him for dinner and temporarily perform the duty of his girlfriend, but he was not immortal. Unlike Uzumaki, what so thoughtful Han-chan. With a smile, Uchiha, today was another family dinner too. Which the family came, it seems to me. Uzumaki Senju and the whole Uchiha family gathered actually in the Uzumaki house, and now everyone is having a nice conversation and someone wishes someone death. Madara Tobi Rama well, and someone is trying to calm them down, but there was one oddity, one of the noisiest gathered here. It was unusually thoughtful and silent. Even Madara collects distracted from the most interesting activity called the enemy, and looked with interest. It is necessary, unusually blonde. I wonder what only my ray that she became so quiet, asked myself. A question friend scars I was offered to meet completely calmly and clearly exceeds some in a trance, reported blue-eyed. It seems that this proposal was too unpredictable for her. Immediately the entire female audience was alarmed. Otherwise ask him who is this guy, but for some reason Madar Fat is not happy, although no, the suicide was worth it to then wring his neck. Naturally, after all, he dared to put his eye on his hands. On his hands only he is capable of saying something. Murder on Holland voice like a friend, and remembered what he was thinking. On hand never was and not will be his. She grew up before his eyes. He remembers her from the cradle. No, of course he could deceive himself saying that this is purely paternal feeling, like that of the same Minata who actively spreads blood, but deceiving yourself is low. Only cowards do this. He did not consider you, Madara, treat this little girl, their daughters, or Moda A, as their own, as their own woman. But what nonsense, I am her girl, can hardly be called not only a woman. However, despite everything between them, there can be nothing, at least 15 years difference, but their bastard Mada-san, as I was in front of him, twirled on your hand, but in the outfit in which she plans to go on a date. For some reason the man did not turn this impudent boy. Probably because he did not want to go to jail. Then on him Padinku someone acts class, although sooner or later, and she someone not be, and on someone I, but all this will happen later too, frankly, said Sneeze, although the outfit was a game to me. Sachi just hoped that she would be very late dressing up. The guy will leave and she will return home, but it means it will do, and on this phrase if she simply ran away from the family, tormenting them, leaving them to think about what just happened. Madara was very angry. This brat invites on Ruka already on the fourth date, and from each she returns literally shining. Eyes shine on her cheeks, blush lips constantly smile. It infuriates how it infuriated him, and it also seemed to him that after each new date she was getting naked more and more, begins to wear her all pains and pains revealing outfits. To say this with the fact that very soon summer, and every day it is getting warmer and warmer. To teach somehow did not guess. Angry he wanted for a long time, until he decided to live me a step. He follow Yuzio Makiai, and for this and the suitor, yes, it is wrong meet and low, but in love. To admit to himself that he has simply fallen in love. A week has already passed, of course. Could he, Uchiha Madara, inveterate bachelor, thunderstorm of girls' hearts, fall in love so easily? Some young girl, after extremely charming, funny, and cheerful young girl, although a little more angular, it did not spoil her at all. Although from thinking about her appearance, then she took from her parents all the best. Round face, cut of eyes, rough figure from mother, and color extremely beautiful. Eyes and hair color sunny, very sleep from father. Yes, on hand can be called an ideal child of her parents if she took character from Minata, but no. In this direction turned out to be stronger. In the evening 7 o'clock, Uchiha put on her favorite tuxedo from long hair in a ponytail. He walked behind the girl at a decent distance so that she definitely did not noticed his girl approached a cute cafe in the amusement park. On the spot he saw several guys, one of whom was his nephew Sasuke. The rest he video in photos, yes, and video he them next to these two. Often therefore I remember a little. He already remembers all their names. So there was Kikarin cousin on hand, Shikamaru Narazuka site. An interesting company gathered, but he just couldn't understand. Any date? No, it's not planned. It seems this whole performance is for Mekket and leather. In terms of sword mood, the man got into his car and went home in the end. He whose work at least for half the night. The work stretched until the night and would have continued in the morning if 8 o'clock he didn't call him on the phone. A trifle, said the inscription contact, and a photo of a face stained with orange paint on his hands. It was also strange since she rarely called, more precisely called rarely, and only in extreme cases. What could have happened? 8 o'clock in the morning. Madara didn't understand. The phone picked up. Good afternoon, funny tubes, what's the matter? On the hands very hub, nervous and tired, so there was no time for many conversations as a group. Well, okay, the point is that you are meeting me today. On this the girl hung up, knowing exactly that if she had not done example P was indignant for a very long time with taste and might not even come. But so he did not even seem under the pretext of eternal work. The answer himself is a workaholic, so he is already madly glad after working. A cafe with a girl will be very good, although he could not even guess on what occasion he was called, deciding not to waste his head with this. Madara again caught everything in work. He still has 2 whole hours to work on his hands. He himself will kill us this on the couch and eating tomatoes. Yes, nothing behind herself, and literally with all her appearance the girl showed was overflowing with energy, and she was also very hungry. She was always hungry when she was nervous, especially if we have Itachi on call. And those with it are not at all sorry for Nissan. It seemed to me that you have a good relationship. Everything also, responded Uchiha, as he understood that and would fly to him, and to see Madara in Neva he did not burn with desire, but apparently no one managed it. Oh come on, you find out, literally glowed about happiness. Finally she was noticed, not only as a small infection and eternally interfering factor, handing over you only 17 years old and him, so that you know. And here he hung up. And how old are the children? 32. Sovereignty, she said, Badimka, wondering how can you find out how old your uncle is? That's exactly between you for 15 years. Exactly, understanding that it is impossible. He is trying to do. Here it is, and who did not overthrow him by the language when he said that the fish apparently fell in love with his Odessa Namikaze, then hung thought and agreed that yes, it seems she really fell in love with Mata-san. If so, then when she grows up she will marry him, and that means she will sacredly keep him faithful. Until she becomes so beautiful that he also falls in love with him. Sasuke understood very well how the Udara himself had not yet guessed about it. Literally 7 Makoto Kushana Mitachi Obito and Zona Mayata knew about it, a whole bunch of children, more precisely a whole bunch of friends, Uzumaki, yes, even Hashirama Sanjo with his brother, and they were in the know. The only one who did not know and who was ordered not to say anything, Minato. Fugaku and Madara himself. It happened. This is the very Uchiha Madara himself literally radiated waves of hatred and was ready to sing a hand on the lock with the word "it seems to me." Itachi, this was the right order, a sign that representatives of the Uchiha clan fell in love, plus his own views with his head betrayed him in front of experienced matchmakers Uchiha and Uzumaki, who actively brought these two together. It was scary to even think what would happen when the head of the families finds out about this. And what did I want sitting in a cafe with a small ice cream beater? You can. But I just, if you have questions, Motorosa a little sly answered. The blonde licking a spoon, frostbitten left eye. Uchiha jerked unequally, but the man immediately took it in his hands. He does it on purpose. What kind of raising one eyebrow? Dara herself narrated. But first, why did we follow me yesterday? Innocently clapping blue eyes clarifies this is something the devil mentally curses, black-eyed, realizing that somewhere he fell, only where he definitely saw that the girl did not turn around her. Maybe true, one of the friends I gave out. Maybe on me rather, they said, not stalking but just walking around here and in general where such thoughts come from. Maybe I just did not pass. Yeah, means that you were there, you know. I will not say. This is a little prankster. Even if it's just as calm. And why did you do it? A little more and she will bring him to clean photos, and if not, then she will still press at the swing, she or not. In the end, as an elder, he was worried that you would not be vulgar. Some guy stumbled a little. Madara swallowed an obscene word. He still remembers the cat's back of the head for the fact that he sometimes swore there are children of this calm woman. Nadiva has a heavy hand, Slava stone. What kind of cracks did he get from her? And then if this Kushna himself did not even want to think about the consequences of this, is not bent from short on the head will give, and you know that there was a gone. Mata-san resentfully grumbled on the hand. This is not at all what I wanted to hear, something with which you took on the hand, this meaningless conversation, man. And on the body, but for some reason his best friend, and if can say beloved, adored, exactly this time of birth. Great patience, Uzumaki, because the end, and she decided to listen to the advice of her Ko-chan. If a man only does not make contact, he must be taken by the balls and forced to do it. For example, I myself forced my father to offer me to date because he still did not dare to do it, because behind me stood a rich and prosperous family. And behind him and himself nobody, and in general what 15 years can do, maybe together company, but nothing to forced to live, you Monet. And now you see what heights have achieved. That's why you just can't take and say that you are jealous. Indignantly came from all places. Why can't you just come up and say that you simply like me? And here is an example of this. Absolutely not. I'm embarrassed to say that I'm in love with you, but the first step should be made by a man, so why the give out? Still hesitate? Already make your first step to say that. Madara strayed means to say nothing. He was in deep shock because he didn't expect this, but they Uchiha, if he hadn't quickly come to his senses, the first step means to me all too, not all too. It's not difficult to do. Madara, who was stunned by her thoughts, simply pulled the raging girl to herself and kissed. But what's there to hesitate about? Then they all who will be for a long time. Hey, the hike hasn't been a boy for a long time already. They were very lucky that they were sitting in a separate booth and no one could hear this big mess. It was awkward, it turned out, although the Uchihas didn't care about public opinion problems. He didn't want, and there was no point in extra witnesses killing them longer. You will only have my grains in your hands, va. Nevertheless, the girl is happy. And not on the contrary, but it doesn't matter. This is the most unbearable of the gorge finally took the first step. Hallelujah, rejoiced ancient Makaw's smiling slyly kiss. She still built him a fun life in the style of Uzumaki. 2 years flew by somehow quickly and unnoticed. Lazo Makaya Uchiha constantly quarreled, made up when they quarreled. Everything flew more than once. Madara had already managed To hit him on the head with a frying pan, however, and not Raska already brought to tears on the hand. No, she was not a crybaby at all, it's just that at some moments she was especially emotional and could not make her emotions. This man knew how to say extremely offensive and evil words in a fit of feelings. Note that they made peace no less violently emotionally. When the relationship became known, it was very noisy, usual calm. Somehow left what the first man of the daughter will be. He assumed that she can meet nipples with whom he has known since childhood on Jiang, who has long since made it clear that this is 7 equal to breathing in one day or still one best friend. There is a mountain on the outskirts, the case will be eyes as if from history, with whom the girl also communicated quite well, but Madara Uchiha. Madara no such thing, and in life definitely did not cook at all. As if already more restrained, he just expressed himself strongly a couple of times and calmed down. In the end, everything was not so bad. Madara has long been not a boy. Hormones do not play. If I decided to take such a step and offer to meet summer girls, so everything is serious, and the question from the wedding temporary if Uchiha falls in love then once and for life gives was beneficial for their family's strengthening. The connection between the companies was still planned after the sign. However, Minato also could not think such a difference between his daughter, his chosen one. Scared, yes, I knew this Uchiha too well since his youth. Are you a hair bachelor womanizer there, Gallic? On the other hand, the time of my stormy youth has long passed. Yes, I saw his look at the dacha, so I could be sure he would not offend her. And if you dare yourself bury this suicide bomber alive, and they both have very difficult characters, but does not joke any life happens, because he himself knows how many such strange couples. However, they live happily after noisily, all the more so he can be sure that he will trust with high in general experience men who can they care and protect from many mistakes. They are inexperienced, and the showcase of the boy besides well, which with all hands was not wanted suicide. Although even if he was against, nothing could do, the people were too willful and would have acted like that, or the heart is all in the mother. You once also dared with your parents. Their order was not to communicate with this rootless drummer. In the end, everything returned well, and he is very glad that his wife turned out to be much more stubborn and Vaughn. So, and then he himself. So why didn't they allow their daughter to make her choice for a very long time? Loves as usual Madara, and if you beat his look, the girl can be immediately understand that they adore each other's souls, even if they often quarrel and swear. But without this, nowhere can you go. Their characters are too different, then moreover, and comparatively, they live quite peacefully thanks to the experience of relatively calm and patience of an adult Czech Republic. It seems that he really will be an ideal match for his daughter. As a result, everyone accepted the relationship normally, and someone was very happy, except for Tobi Rama Senju. He is not a soul. Brought this impudent Chihu he generally Uchiha could not stand, but this one especially much. Here on hand, he liked a certain girl, no rather how cute and stupid and motive for which you just need a class, although the way she called him irritated him quite a lot. Then he could not understand at all why in the eyes he looks like a fool, but running to this was useless. She gave nicknames to almost everyone, so everyone got used to what is Zazu worth, which she called from. Well, why exactly no one knew, but it sounded cute and somehow girlish, and because of this Abinos yes resigned himself. But despite everything stupid, and Moda did not want to listen to him directly. Verivo that Madara is the one she needed, she kept repeating for 5 years. It was he who Topi Ram was the second person who found out about her love for this bastard, the first Uchiha. Sasuke is not the best person image on hands in Senju's opinion, if we at least Uchiha, but much better Isuter. For some reason they entrusted him with the secret he did not know what to do against this idiocy of the black-eyed man. It still took him pride and even some joy, because for a little girl, someone she likes is very important, and she trusted him, and this shows the degree of trust. But a little offensive nickname. But it turned out his worst nightmare. His worst enemy noticed the girl's sympathy and even reciprocated in one. Terribly wanted to strangle this bastard, but trouble in his arms will not forgive, and no matter how offensive it was, but we are understood gifts and chances for victory small. It's a pity, very sorry. In the end, he only has to make peace with you. However, Rama was sure that sooner or later they will still separate, everyone is too different. To bend they are not ready in any other way and let it be something inside. She will never be from him, at least for a long time and so to move in with. Her parents for a week or two during a particularly strong quarrel is quite possible. The red-eyed man decided to shut up the inner voice and sacredly believe that this relationship will not live much, and he was the poorest one like a stupid and moto. Moved and it seems that the apartment to this scoundrel now she will spend much more time with him than with him himself Senju at these moments. Light jealousy and the habits of the owner woke up after all she was very important to him. The only stupid light and eternally cheerful at the signs were his son, which for some reason recently intended to marry him. They say nothing like that magical material is wasted however then and the frame therefore did not worry his different character no one can bear. Hard saying that they are completely not suitable. The first in relation to Sean normally he worked and finishing school was preparing to enter the university and did not get out who will go to Monar said that he can go where he wants they go where they pay more anyway the family will provide. It will be him and she will have personal funds as a Japanese access to the family. Budget Uchiha did not want the point of hiding something or concealing his father and future wife. In the end they still lived together the truth at least it remains to say signs. About how it will turn 20 years old he will take her to the registry office and make Naruto Uchiha. Uchiha plan for the next 5 years man already had he tenderness especially unpleasant. That is why he liked his life for the period that he always did until now there was no strong deviation from them. They contributed to noisy swings to fall in love with which from he did not plan from the word at all it was unforeseen the relationship although very pleasant but more such will not happen with sure Madara he was not going to change his plans because of such an incident he will just rewrite a little and that's all but somehow everything was not going according to plan. This unbearable individual acts unpredictably and the whole plan is flying to the worst thing is that he liked it to live I don't know what will happen next note not knowing this girl and what she will come up with. He honestly tried to fight it at first but over time he just spat on it. Did and plunged into the hydrogen of events life Uzumaki more precisely Uchiha became very nervous and extremely unpredictable first of all received a subordinate in the second. Scar however despite this that brother for a friend after all now someone will be able to tolerate. This is not equipped character and will even be able to force him to break away from work. And everything will be cheeky pukey then you can relax with your own family life and Tomita-chan has already begun to express dissatisfaction. She is a hot-tempered woman you can cover a lot and it hurts. Returning from work Uchiha saw how cute his carrot Sasuke and then bad thoughts began to warm him up but if you think about it then he doesn't spend much time together too much and knows each other with millions and always didn't spill yes. In her arms often hugs a guy they follow him with him by the hand and even need to cook. For him a man began to shave fury and jealousy he himself to ride thought that they would make a wonderful couple and that most likely when they grow up they will get married no again no he can't allow such a thing on hand only him is no one even actually. Nephew will not allow her to take it from him from the car brunette approached sitting on the bench couple they left written Aura and Sasuke I tortured in mid-sentence with horror. Having settled on the evil so thousands of drawings mommies of those said he slowly sliding benches to increase the distance between them. The sense of self-preservation installed Pakoda worked perfectly and now literally Popola about that the couple to take away far away swaying and even as if you do not know you continuing in what to tell about what about your own not even bothering about what I am listening to the girls just talk about everything else is important. Naruga addressed friend Kuzumaki to me my own look potential killers what finally interrupted Dinka Sasuke completely indecently pointed his finger at Madara and the girl after the direction of the limbs turned around on their lips a smile blossomed because she had not seen her man all day and was terribly bored. The girl jumped up and threw herself on his neck. Wireless or not very much Uchiha's anger went somewhere only humility appeared and he obediently hugged Els Italia girls you are today earlier than usual Madara cheerfully noticed naked climbing and you boredom began nipples get up now. There is no one nearby and I'm bored alone. Yes, decided to feel will be with work, but in spite of everything the drilling and irritated look was still us nephew. Last husband from this 100 not for you wanted to quickly from here and not with this. Undoubtedly scary man was although a couple of days so that he cooled down let and did not forget very terribly quickly saying goodbye to everyone. Present guy how so mockingly after he is sana all this. Situation did not go unnoticed. The main reason for all this a self-willed smile appeared after all it. Nice when you are jealous. I bumped into Madara's neck with my nose slightly. Went home already compared in her arms. I cooked dinner jealous you are mine what? Is there shrugging my shoulders I will watch us all the same holding swings by the waist. Headed into the house despite all this he will still look after give too. Because if something from Sasuke ___ rips off and an hour Fugaku Itachi will report and they will add. Because the chosen ones of relatives teach them and with this unspoken rule follows everyone. No one is an exception, however, there are still several suspicious individuals who hang around in his arms and who should be watched so that they don't take their thoughts and eyes off his hand. Sasuke hasn't particularly weighed down to him since then, but Madara would still be on guard. He was extremely annoyed by the close communication of these two, but he couldn't forbid Smokey. She's stubborn as hell and now Praikavea will be offended and will move out to her parents. And then he'll have to ask for forgiveness. The last Uchiha didn't like most of all for him, it was and even the fact that he was changing by. In fact, one of the dearest people for him did not change anything. It was humiliating. The man did not like admit mistakes at least in public because on hand with her principles fly to Tartarus and she herself did everything so and wants and what she wants. The last irritated the brunette even tried to fight it, however, everyone recognized defeat and all actions ended in a grand scandal. On him for a whole month and the first 2 weeks without leaving the apartment and parents. And not even picking up the phone. The last 2 practically at every meeting they flew away something heavy. They naturally made peace with the same grandiose however already at the bus stop Ted. Now the moderator was more strained by one impudent guy saw us on the head for the second time. How this Nara impudent he dared take her by the waist and let go. That he together with her Zagara and nipples tried to teach these individuals to skate. That the last ones were not very silent in this they caught all the cues. So as not to kill and the people Shikamaru hold me screamed Monica every other time falling at the end. The guy was teaching the girl tired of the fact that this noisy woman all the time grabs the collar, then something else that in the end the raid. They are together because Pineapple just hold her exactly so as not to fall, however, in the end. Not Dykes herself will see this. Odessa said Sasuke sitting on a bench in the company of 2 classmates. A deathly silence reigned and looks with damage to the brunette. He is behind me. Yes, yeah, with his head glad to see turned to his relative. He Sasuke, it seems he is such notations about his yours goosebumps from horror naturally. This was her request in the hope that they will leave him alone and go sort it out. And more expensive out of the corner of her eye could giving. Glancing at the couple in general, it has come and full. Clearly frightening. And for now they have to become healers of family showdowns. Breaths hell crush. Break as evil swings always destruction and now she is just angry. Because her chosen one does not trust her. It seems the girl no longer finds anything pleasant in reality. Visible person she can be understood. Mata stretched out Badinka hugging her man from behind of trying to look into the laptop monitor. There alas there were only some numbers and the Muzumaki was very weak. But why are you telling me that you love puffing out her cheeks, asked she. Seems these already talked about this, tearing herself away from the monitor calmly. If something changes I will tell you, he answered. The answer to this down did not even see. You have already decided where to go anymore. Changed the topic the man burying his face in the neck of his girlfriend. Not fun to drink, blue-eyed, not even thinking more offended and maybe well him. And in response and to Yuriko the brunette only shook his head negatively. Compare from her. Firstly, education will be useful to you in any case. Secondly, you will die of boredom at home. Well, why don't the girls die? Categorically didn't want to study. If you want you can study in absentia. I will offer Madara. Well, I'll think about it. Thinking about calling all my friends so that for you who and how. Plans to study here are these phrases well as soon as. Stand immediately jumped off sat down hookah and playfully wagged her finger cheerfully. Winking on hand ran away bedroom and Uchiha there was nothing left except how heavy. Sigh and returned to work which had not seen neither end nor edge after thinking. A little blonde decided first he would call Nipples and after already in sleep for the rest as it turned out best friend. Even decided to study in absentia with him such a decision was made by Shikamaru who studied Karen and on the site while still thinks the same as the mountain but after tearful requests not to leave her dog punished that probably all the same will study by correspondence will also study still. All the others will be in the daytime although I said Sakura she would not immediately. Madara shouted loudly waving so that the other team could hear I will study by correspondence well for whom I heard in response I don't know yet but I will decide soon just at this time a message came from Kiba offering to go for a walk I have with him and Kamaru since it was boring on my hand she agreed without thinking much and began to get dressed considering that it was summer now. She got dressed quickly and the corridor I went for a walk I only heard Uchiha and then the front door slammed with no one. She went does not go for a walk anywhere no information at all there was zero and such. A jealous person yes and paranoia when given as Madara to leave all this like this could not as a result the phone numbers of his sweethearts when the same familiar melody phone. Bedroom man is allowed he said and decided that he will wait an hour and a half if already. During this time the girl does not return he will sound the alarm and began to recognize his property with his male girlfriends. The reason for all this was already running towards his friend. I'm talking about the fact that it was necessary to have your phone when a guy with country's tattoos on his cheeks appeared in the blonde's field of vision video of red fangs and a huge dog. She began to rejoice waving her hand hello. A friend came lucky on his neck waving and it seems to me or you got fat place. Greeting sound for which he received an elbow belly and then already forgotten dressing girls. Seems offended by the third she and demonstratively turned her head to the side. Okay for makeup laughing when the guy don't let me feed Madara fun. It seemed already not at all to run. You Slovaks not in my place. In response to this remark Badenka only chuckled and after she began to cheerfully broadcast the news of her life and unfold about everything that happened over the past week. Uritan after they somehow unexpectedly wandered into the park in which they walked until the evening. Then there was a cafe but only after they took Akamar then there the guy people somehow forgot about the fact that her man was looking for a igniter on jealousy of the same about the fact that she forgot the phone. I'll need it will call for a second to distracting conversations with her friend fashion so that at this time 7th place we wound up the twist of the whole apartment every now and then breaking into an irritated cry for magic 8 o'clock in the evening still not at home phones with them no as a result they had to call all their friends and acquaintances until finding out under from this chibi kuna and receiving advice that soon most likely they are either in the Wakamura Park or the Donju Cafe which was located nearby in the park and in which they all loved to be who was nearby. And sound without thinking Uchiha pounced and a light jacket since it was already cool outside quickly with a step like our cafe. He doubted such an evening all jackets as signs will be, __, in the park at least he hoped that she still had brains. I will not be completely naked to walk in such weather reached the place he more often terms after which he actively began to study the thirst for murder since his buns were sitting and cafe and were chatting nicely with some guy while laughing cheerfully bending over to the table thereby opening a beautiful chest very stealing institution words to the girl waitress as Madara approached and to the table at which this couple was sitting and turned his back whole girls leaving. The guy who was drinking juice sharply choked on fear responsible the same Madarabu anger. Terribly terrible because such reactions he is not clear. About Madara you are doing was surprised the girl who turned around seeing the strange reaction of her friend but he came irritated either to live it or. The man growled and why just not called. The answer to this phrase the man showed from more precisely the indicator from the pocket of his trousers. A cute little basic phone with a red washing, we see a keychain, oops all that. Madinka could do is slightly guilty looking at her beloved, and we see here others. She is not the smallest, a small amount of money of the movies their dreams. The table quickly went to the side of the exit. Ozumaki only saying that to shout while to a friend, after which it turned out on the street. And the son-in-law to shiver, it was cold almost immediately after this action. On and shoulders a jacket lay down is jealous witch. Troutlina did not look at her side, just straight dragging the girl by the hand side. She however not seeing equal account, no reaction, flared up match yes. Stop, shouted, tearing her hand from a strong grip. I'm tired of what kind of jealous of me to every oncoming cross pull, forbid seeing friends, control each step. Will whip then slut, I'm not a toy for you, and actually Uchiha shut up. Shouted in that undisguised malice, we look at our girl, shut up, look at him. She shut up, so already squealed his locks, waving his hands and filled with resentment. Anger and disappointment, why this no unbearable man so much does not trust her, why just can't rely on him, yes you if. So then this relationship the devil loved to dreams, and the devil you tears were already led from eyes to hand, which could no longer restrain them, since you don't believe me so much, then there is nothing between us, and so I don't want to live forever mistrust. And jealousy tired girl threw off his shoulders cat and turned to leave. Putting these daughter, their relationship is enough, I'm happy she will not tolerate this terrible mistrust, let the heart and break, nothing will survive probably. People in this place now, they were the only ones, and dimly burning lanterns for the next 10 meters after this Europe kissed until blood biting the lip, you will not go anywhere. Uzumaki Tikin, more precisely let's talk man, probably the first in his entire life on the hand in the old way, was scared of the Uchiha so much that Moshka went on the skin and knees began to tremble before, never understood why are they so afraid of her now. Touch understands you yourself, provoked me yourself, hung your life with me yourself, will make yourself mine, I did not force you, looking it straight blue eyes, Harry, it was you who tied me to yourself like a disgusting dog, and after all this you want to leave, just saying that it's over. More and more angry Madara, telling everything that has accumulated in him for a long time, everything that has pinched the trigger of the brain for a long time, and that he successfully ignored. The blonde looked at him and music, it was she who initiated this relationship, it was all the time she tried to make him pay attention to it. After all, it was Narek who promised herself that she would always love this man, no matter how unserbian he was. Is it really possible that now, having faced the first difficulties of their relationship, she just sits down so simply just from the problem? Having lied to herself, having broken this promise, she also signs on the hand of her daughter and 8 for Makiai, the most wonderful people in the world that always keeps her promises. Can she so easily give herself and Madara, who really went against an empty society, prove that he is reliable and can be relied upon, who only once told her about love on but sincerely and without problems lies? No, she can't do that. He can't just run away from the problem saying that he couldn't do nothing. He can definitely can, more precisely they are together. After all, Kakantina said that a relationship is a friend of two in them. It's simple, and without a quarrel it doesn't happen. Both should work on them, and always my happy. Also both grip on the shoulder. Weakened she on the hand, enchanted by the eyes, looked Uchiha. He will not let her down for himself. She holds her tightly next to know for this he really loves this unbearable girl too much, who decided to play at love without even knowing what it is, how he wishes, regrets at such moments that he is Uchiha, who can love only once in a lifetime. Him, in case he is much stronger than these feelings, it will be necessary to strangle, and strangles them. Cares about the existence of some signs on the hands, too light bright. But such a windy girl, forgive me, from thought's voice, and I Staples, forgive me, I don't know anything in relationships, therefore not I have to forget that this work must work. I know that now. It is difficult for you to understand at times. I'm sorry that I was ready to give up so easily. I love you very, very much. I really love you. Idiot will whine, already having sat down, her hands man pulling a shovel and frozen by poppies to himself. Yeah, obediently agrees the girl, and I'm sorry for the jacket. In response to this remark, a gift only to roll her eyes. I think, where did I sin so much? However, You will hesitate too helpfully many memories and he prefers. Attention to this let's go you will freeze okay just promise me something what exactly. Don't be jealous of me don't doubt me if I'm with you so I'm with you and no one else is needed a little indignantly tells him the girl but she knows for sure that he won't be able not to rhinate her and this appears on her lips a laugh Madara nothing interferes because she is too beautiful and she and many want to take advantage of this. So he will be jealous and just comes across to doubt her however. Jealous end.